Hey guys, Dan here. So yesterday I created a video and the content of this video was all about understanding your customer avatar and really from that point honing in on your customer's buying journey so you can create a product that really speaks directly to your customer, okay? And what is the result of that, guys? More book sales, right? So I wanted to actually elaborate a little bit on that video today and really show you guys how the process works in quantifying your customer avatar. So I've also created a free PDF resource that I will give you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be in the comments. If you're watching this anywhere else, just comment below and I will be able to send that PDF straight over to you. So guys, let's just jump into that PDF right now and go through the process together. So guys, this is actually the video I was talking about first off, where we talk about the customer buying journey. It's right here on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Dan Pye. If you're not already a subscriber, please jump on over and subscribe. Okay, so this is the free PDF resource that I've created for you guys, and it's titled How to Identify Your Customer Avatar Market. Okay, so this is a book marketing training. And if you don't know already, guys, my company is called Period Time Publishing. Okay, so in page number 1 of this resource, you'll see how to identify your customer avatar. Now, the best way to do this, right, is actually head on over to forums and different places like that that pertain specifically to your niche, right? So depending on what niche you're in, you would look for forums that revolve around that niche and you'll just jump in there and just have a look at what's going on in there. And it's the best way truly to understand your customer and your customer avatar. So the first part of this process is to write down inside of this document, who is your audience? Who is your customer avatar? And what this means, guys, is essentially your demographic, right? So for ourselves, our customer avatar is generally female. They are aged between 25 to 65, sometimes beyond that. But look, we're just averaging things out, guys, really, at the end of the day. They also have interests in period times from 1800s to early 1900s. They're also generally, what's happened here? They're also genuinely artistic types as opposed to academic. They come from predominantly the USA, also the UK, Canada, and Australia. Now, guys, there's a lot more involved in honing out our customer avatar, right? And we have a big list of who our customer actually is. But then when you get that list and you have it in sort of like a point form, then what you want to do is really simplify that list, right? And really knuckle it down to one small paragraph of who your customer actually is. Now, we've already done this and we have documents, but this is what this stage is all about, guys. You need to jump into forums and really do some hardcore research on your customer in that specific niche. Put it into point form and then knuckle it down into one single paragraph that explains who your customer is intensely, right down to, you know, when they usually wake up in the morning. And like, there's just, you really need to get this part right. Okay, guys. So that's what you want to put into this section. Once you've done that, you might use a Word document to do this research, but once you've got that singular paragraph, you want to paste that in here. So the next step is what you need. What are your needs, right? So this is not about your customer. So what do you need to get out of this relationship between yourself and your customer? So some of these things might include expression of authority. So what that means is just expressing that you understand your niche, right? Your book expresses authority in the position that it is inside of your marketplace. Okay, obviously the obvious ones, guys, like sales, right? More money, more recognition. At the end of the day, it's what you want to get out of the relationship with your customer, because it's important that we really hone in on what your customer is, what your customer needs, and what you need in return for building that relationship with your customer, right? If you don't understand these things intently, then it's extremely difficult to serve your customer and also get what you need out of that relationship. So that's what this section's all about, guys. I'm not going to go into it in massive detail here, but you really want to think deeply about this. What do you need out of this relationship? And it's not just money, guys. Of course, sales are great, royalties are good, money is fantastic. Building a business is that's the backbone of it, right? But there's a lot more to a customer relationship than just giving them something and expecting money in return. You need to understand the value proposition here. You need to understand it more than the customer does, because it's your responsibility to portray the value of your customer actually having a financial relationship with your business. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Why do you need these things? So if it's sales, why do you actually need sales? Well, obviously to grow your business. If it's authority, why do you need authority? Right? So you can portray a position of authority to your market, right? So if your book doesn't portray a position of authority inside of your market, then why would your customer ever buy it from you, right? Why would you need more recognition? Again, it comes down to authority. And also traffic. If you have market recognition, then you have authority. And if you have authority, then you're able to produce more traffic on your book organically, right? So essentially this part here is all about going over what you need and asking yourself, why do I need that? And if the why is not really strong, then you could probably eliminate that what. Okay, so you only want to have really strong points in this section. Really strong points. If sales aren't strong, which they always are, right? If you can't figure out why you need sales, then you're probably not meant to be in business at the end of the day, right? It's just the cold hard truth. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. All right, guys, this is called the gap matrix. And what we're actually going to do here is figure out what the content of your book should actually be. All right. So the first thing that we do over here on this side of this matrix, so there's the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere, and the central overlap, the gap, all right, at the end of the day. So on this side, it says, fill this side of the matrix. Where is your customer in their journey? What do they want to be? Okay, so essentially, where is your customer inside of their buying journey? What do they want out of this relationship? All right. And we already know what we want, right? And why we want it. we understand who our customer avatar is. But when they're searching for a book, what do they want before they actually make that purchase? What is it that your customer is specifically looking for, right? So depending on your niche, guys, this is extremely niche specific, so I can't super go into this, but let's just make one up for argument's sake. For a public domain book in a love story genre, right? So the customer is looking to escape reality. They are looking to have a heartfelt experience. They are looking to fill voids in their own love life. Guys, you would all probably know if you've been following me for a while, I'm extremely dyslexic. I can't even barely say the word. So look, I make many mistakes when it comes to spelling and stuff like that. I can't help it, right? It's even hard for me to get words out. I've done extra studies in TAFE here and university in Australia, trying to improve on my dyslexia, but it's just something that I'm born with and I can't help it. So you'll just have to excuse the poor spelling and grammar. So these might be a couple things, right, that the customer is looking to achieve in their buying of your romance love story novel. So I should put that in there. Okay. What else might they be looking to achieve? They're also looking to achieve a good price point, right? So they want all these things emotionally, but there's also the rational side, okay? So they don't want to pay too much to achieve a heartfelt experience or to escape their reality. They don't want to pay too much to fill the void in their own love life through this novel at this point in time in their experience, right? In their human experience as they're traveling through life. They also want a quality experience. All right, so that's that side. Let's look at this one. So fill in this side of the matrix, your interests, strengths, and skills. Okay, so we're trying to determine if in the romance novel niche, if what we actually hold within us can actually fill what our customer's looking for. All right, so you might say something like, that you have a successful marriage for the past 20 years, right? There's the dyslexia again. You might say that you have okay, so you might have a successful marriage of your own for the past 20 years. You may have helped out friends through tough times. You may have skills to write the outline of a romance novel based off your own experiences during life or other books that you've read, or just, life experience are the best ones because you can draw from them and they're always at the forefront of your memory in your memory retention palace. Okay, so life experiences are really good, right? So now what we're looking for here, guys, is the overlap between these two. So the customer wants to escape reality and have a heartfelt experience, right? So the overlap here is that you have the skills to write an outline of that, right, of their heartfelt experience through a novel. Okay, so you might not have the skills to write the whole novel if you're not an author, but you have the skills to write the outline of the story, to understand, you know, the basics of what the story structure would look like, right? So then you could possibly have someone else ghostwrite that for you. And it's the same thing for low and no content books, guys, if you're in that niche, right? So you might be, instead of looking at romance novels here, you might be looking at event planning, right? So a planner book for event planners, okay? And you're asking yourself, what does the experience of my customer, what experience do they want in an event planning planner book, right? And then you're going to look at what skills, interests, and strengths you have in that space. And then again, just looking at the overlap, like you have this skill to write the outline and they want this heartfelt experience, right? You also have business skills where this might translate into price point, right? So you also may have design experience, and this may translate into the quality experience, right? So here's your overlap, and then in the center down here, guys, I would suggest that you print this PDF out and actually just scribble all over it, right? And then you can go ahead and do it on a computer later on once you've got everything down pat, because it's going to take trial and error, just like anything in business, to get this right, okay? So then you can actually type out in the center what your overlap is. And this overlap will become the content for your book, right? So this is essentially how we plan out what our customer wants, what we can offer, and what our book content will become. Our book content, our content is the overlap, the gap, all right? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so guys, this is the copywriting acronym, and it's called AIDA, AIDA, right? It's very big in marketing spaces. And what this is actually going to do is to help you understand your copy, because your copy is what actually sells the books, and your copy is essentially your title, your subtitle, and your description, right? And Amazon A+ content if you're using that system. So let's have a look at this. So the first thing here is A for attention, right? And essentially this is your title. So why should they care? Your title needs to tell your customer right there, big and bold, why they should care about your book. Now, it should be very easy to come up with a title that tells your customer why they should care, because you know who they are, right? You know your audience, you know the customer avatar extremely well. You've done your research up here, right? Then you've understood what that customer avatar wants, and you've understood what skills you have that overlap, which will become your book content. So now it should be very very easy to craft a title, a very catchy title that tells the customer straight away why they should care about your book. It's going to stop them in their tracks, as well as if you've looked at my video about the customer buying journey, they're looking at the cover, right? So the cover will stop them in their tracks, but the title will tell them why they should actually care and get you that click through, right? So you want to craft a title here, and you might write a few and just play with it, guys. Even put it out if you have an audience and ask them what they think about the title. If you don't have an audience, put it out into social media groups, what you think, and ask people what they think about this title, okay? But obviously you want to put it in groups where you have trust. So paid groups are always best for that, guys. If you're not in paid groups or in paid masterminds, then there's always a chance that there's going to be low quality vultures in those groups just going to steal your title, right? So I would always suggest getting into a paid mastermind or a paid program where you can ask these questions in confidence. All right, so the next one, I, stands for interest, right? And what this essentially is, guys, is your subtitle. So you've grabbed their attention, you've told them why they should care. And inside your subtitle, they're asking you, give me a little bit more, right? So you want to pique their interest with your subtitle. So attention, why they should care. Title, subtitle, interest. Pique my interest. you've got my attention with your title. Now I know why I should care. So why would I be interested in this? All right. And that's your subtitle. D stands for desire. But in the publishing world, desire in the marketing world, in the publishing world, I like to say details, right? Because what this essentially is your book description. Now, guys, I actually have videos and content out there that goes into great detail on crafting a description, a title, a subtitle, all of these things. And that's why I'm not going to go into it in detail inside of this video today. There is resources here at the end of this PDF, right? Where it's got here, writing a book description, okay? And that links to one of my videos. So you want to help them understand the book. This is your description, essentially. And the last one is A for action. Now, guys, this is arguably the most important part, right? If you've done everything else on point, you've got it honed in and squared away up to this point, right? The call to action should actually tell them specifically how to take the action of purchasing your book, right? That's why I say here, make it concise. Make it concise, guys. And this will be in the bottom of your description. So this is essentially, again, guys, the copywriting aspect of the customer buying journey. Now you have your avatar squared away. You want to craft a title that, you know, grabs their attention, and you want to pique their interest with your subtitle. And then you want to give them the details of the book inside of your description, but you want to write it in a way that speaks to your customer avatar. And like I said, guys, I have a training on this. And then right at the very end of your description, you want to have a very clear and concise call to action that literally takes your customer by the hand and shows them how to buy your book, right? But ensure that you don't break any Amazon policies with your call to action. Amazon does have policy around this, so just do a Google search to find out what their policy is there. Now, guys, the last part of the process is actually the cover, right? Because I always write my descriptions and everything first, so I totally understand my customer. I totally understand the buying journey. I completely understand the description and what the book and everything about the book is about, right? I understand the call to action. Only then will I actually craft my cover. Now, covers are extremely easy to do. A lot of people struggle with this, and I've never really understood why, because they're really easy to do. There's so many examples of great covers out there, and it's so easy to just do an Amazon search in your niche and have a look at all of the covers that are actually making sales, right? So essentially here, guys, we're doing a bit of a recap. We want to know who our audience is again. So we go back to page 1 and we grab this part here. Who is our audience? It should be one single paragraph, right, by this stage. And we're going to paste that in here. And then the gap, your book, right? So the gap here, the overlap, we're going to paste that in here. Just so we have it right there in front of us and we understand, okay, this is our audience, this is the gap and what my book is about. Right, we've already got our description and everything written and on point, and in our minds we understand our book completely and totally. We understand our market, we understand our customer, we understand our book. We've got all our copyright done, we've got our title, everything's squared away. So now it's time to really craft a cover that matches our market. This is the trick here. And it's really simple. Like I said, just go into Amazon, have a look at books inside your niche that are selling, and take some notes about the imagery that they use on their covers. Take some notes about the colors and the contrasting of the colors. Take some notes here about the different fonts that you see, right? There's websites like Font Squirrel where you can just grab a screenshot of the font on the cover, take it over to Font Squirrel, upload it as an image, and it'll tell you that font or similar fonts, right? So you can use that sort of resource to get a list of different fonts, right? And then you can put some links in here that link back to particular titles that really took your attention, that really popped, and for you to take inspiration from. Now, guys, we're not copying covers here. You never ever want to do that, because if you're a copycat, you're never going to be as good or surpass the original, right? So you're just taking inspiration. And then once you have all these things, it's just a matter of deducing it into a cover and understanding the design process. So you might use Canva or Photoshop or whatever it is. I essentially use Canva. I'm a massive Photoshop guy, but when it comes to covers, I actually prefer Canva because it's just so much more simple, right? And it's a layered software, so you're able to just drag in different fonts and test them out, different colors and test them out, different images and test them out, and then you'll be able to come up with something that really pops and is very specific to your market. All right, guys, and that's essentially it. Let's go over this one more time really quickly, just as a bird's eye view. So what we're trying to achieve here is to identify our customer avatar and then craft an offer, essentially, from a marketing perspective that really speaks to our customer avatar and our market as a broad spectrum, right? So the offer is essentially our book and the copyright that goes with it, okay? So again, here to identify the customer, we ask ourselves who is our audience, and we're going to troll forums and different things in our niche to understand who our audience is, right? There's other statistical sites out there, even government statistical sites. There's tons of information. There's no shortage of it, guys. All you need to do is jump on Google and you're going to find that. Okay, and then we need to ask ourselves, what about us, right? So what are our needs inside of the relationship with this customer? And then we need to ask ourselves, why do we need these things? And we want to really hone in on this, guys. Open up a Word document, scribble on paper, whatever it may be, and then once you've got that process fully down pat about this book or this niche, then you want to fill out these sections with just single paragraphs. Okay, the next thing is the gap matrix. Now, what this is essentially doing is we are sorry guys. Okay, we are trying to figure out what our customer wants, right? When they go on their buying journey, what do they want out of this buying journey? It's not just all about price, right? It's not just all about beautiful design. There's actually a desire behind their need to go and buy that book. And that's what we're really trying to knuckle down on here, right? And then we're figuring out what we can offer ourselves in that space. So in the niche that we've chosen. Now, guys, at the end of this as well, there's a resource on niche research. So you can go ahead and look at that as well. It's another video that I've done. So we already pretty much know our niche, but we're trying to figure out what our customer wants on a deeper level. It's not just about design or the words in the book, what they actually want to experience out of the purchase. And then we're trying to figure out what we can offer. And then when we're looking at the overlap between these two things, that will become what we base our book around. So at the end of the day, the gap matrix really tells us what book we're actually going to create, right? The next step is creating the copyright, and we use the AIDA acronym to do this, right? So attention, interest, desire or details, and action. Attention, again, is your title. You want to grab their attention. Interest is your subtitle. Why should they be interested in it, right? The desire or details in regards to books is your description that really speaks to your customer, because by this point we truly understand our market. And then the action is taking the customer by the hand and showing them exactly how to purchase your book, right? At the end of the day, it's really straightforward and concise. The call to action always must be straightforward and concise. And then the very last step, because by this point we truly understand our market, we truly understand our customer. We've got our book outline, or we've got it written, or we've got it designed if you're in low and no content, or we've chosen our niche and we've got our book in public domain, because there's just millions of them that we can choose from. Only then do we create and craft our cover, because the cover is the visual aspect, and it's arguably the most important part, right, outside of keywords being found in the first place. So the cover will essentially ensure that your customer stops the scroll. And stopping the scroll is so hard these days, guys. So it's very important that we do all of this stuff first, so we understand our customer. Because when a customer's scrolling, like what I'm doing right now, everyone is so used to scrolling, right? It takes something special to get that person to stop and look, even just for a split second. So this cover actually really needs to be quite special. And the only way we can do that is if we truly understand our market first, okay? So again, it's very easy. we just have a little bit of a recap here, and then we go into doing some market research. We just look at images on similar covers that are actually doing well in our market. We look at the color contrasts and different colors that they use on their covers. We look at the fonts and different types. You can use Font Squirrel. It's a free service to find out what fonts your competitors are using or similar fonts. And then we can do some link back. So when we actually create our covers and we're doing our testing and switching around fonts and colors and things like that, based off what we've looked at here, we might go, let's try this image with that color and that color, and let's try this font. No, that didn't work. Let's switch out that image with that color and this font. No, that didn't work. Let's try this font. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of like split testing as you go through your design process. And that's it, guys. That is how you discover your customer avatar, and that is how you understand your customer buying journey and then actually implement that customer buying journey. In my last video that I created yesterday, I talked all about utilizing the customer buying journey and how you need to ensure that you really square away each step of this, but I didn't give you any strategy around that. So today I created this video, and I wanted to offer this free PDF resource just, because I really respect you guys watching my videos and taking the time to listen to what I've got to say, right? So that's very, very important to me, and I respect that so much. So I wanted to give you this free PDF today. Again, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be in the description of this video to download this PDF. If you're watching this on another social platform, just comment PDF below and I'll send it through to you guys. Guys, also, I want to know if you got any value out of this, or if there's anything I can improve on, or whatever it may be. Just give me some feedback in the comments as well. Always happy to take that on board. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up, and I hope that you got some value out of this today, and I'll talk to you all soon. You all have a good day.